the course seems to be very clear that we should have 2 books going at the same time so they can be bundled. This subject was brought up in a recent Q&A call about 2 weeks ago. The coaches said the current market, we should focus on 1 book at a time. Question being, did I misunderstand something and stick with 1 book, or should I be pushing a second one through right now? Thank you for your time. The first thing I would say about this is that myself and Dan might have different opinions on this. So I'll say what my opinion is, and then Dan can say what his opinion is. Because it's not like if you do one, you'll do it right. If you do one, you do it wrong. No, they're both right. So my opinion is that publish as many books as you can without quality suffering and without having a subpar book launch. You should never launch books at the same time anyway, so that would never happen. But as long as the quality of the book is not affected, I prefer having 2 books at a time. I could easily do that, but I know many people get overwhelmed by that. And for those people, I would suggest 1. So if in theory you could you have 4 books created at once without the quality suffering, I would say create 4 books, but that's really hard. Okay, so that's unlikely. But my point is, without quality suffering, do what you can. Dan, what do you think? You might disagree. I know Ollie disagrees.
I agree and disagree to a certain degree. So I launched 4 books at once on my first go round, and I would strongly recommend that don't do that. That said, once you've done it once and you have an audience, it changes everything. Because if you want to be sending 750 emails each time you launch a book, then good luck, because I want to do that once, and that'd be for my first book. And there's 3 things here. So the first thing is, when you create a book, you're going to make mistakes. With the best will in the world, you're going to create those mistakes. So if you stagger your launch, and this is what I promote, you do your first book, you get it out, get it over 100 reviews, build up your audience, all that kind of stuff. You have to do that AMZ discover route, send out hundreds of thousands of emails, do it once, get that audience. The second book you do is almost going to write itself because of the feedback you're going to get from the audience you've just created. Also, you're not going to make the same mistakes twice that you're going to have made on that first book, because you're going to have learned and you'll have applied it to your second book. And third and finally, when you launch your second book, you'll launch it to an existing audience, which means that you've got all these people standing by waiting for your second book. And if you want to, after you've done your first book, do 2 books or 3 books or 4 books at once, it's going to be providing it all in the same niche. That's fine, because you'll have cut your teeth, you'll have learned your lessons, you'll have built that audience, you'll have taken all that information back, and the information they've given you is going to be gold for your second book. So I actually do agree with Rasmus, only in that if you've already launched a book and you have an audience, then do 10. If it works, do it, right? We're in the business of making money. But for your first book, I would suggest you take your time, don't rush too much, don't take on too much, and nail that first book first. And then after that, you're a publisher now. Do what you want. It's your business. But yeah.
I think that's a really good point. Even if you've never published a book before, even if you could handle more than 1 as your first book, let's start with 1. Less stress for you, less workload, easier, and you'll get the hang of it, make a bunch of mistakes.
And less risk, which means less chance of losing money, etc., resources, time, energy. And you don't want to get disheartened. You don't want to screw this up and think, this is not for me, right? Get that first book out, get it over 100 reviews, and then you've learned, you've left the nest now. You're a publisher, right? We're pleased to see you fly off and then hopefully fly back again. But once you've done that, you know what's involved, and you can manage that yourself. That's
good point. I agree with that. CS Sloan says on over a dozen Q&A calls, they say 1 book at a time. Maybe Dan says one thing and I say what I say. It's not like one's correct.
There's no wrong answer here, guys. It's down to, it's down to you. We can advise you, but you are your own business owner. You're your own people,
But I mean, me and Dan actually agree completely. First book, regardless, I'd say take 1, and then thereafter it's as many as you can without quality suffering.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So you can bundle later, and bundles are like the cherry on the cake, but you've still got to have the good quality content first. So don't think too much about your bundles. They come when they come, and they're great. They're really great. I love bundles. I've bundles in every single thing I do, but they come when they come. The most important thing is to get that information right, get the content right, get the books right, and then you get that nice little cherry on the cake when you do bundle them together.